Welcome to 100 Questions about Ho'oponopono. Grab a cup of coffee or tea or even water. And let's do this. Okay, so we have the message from the author. And thank you, Ruby, for being our conscious collaborator who suggested this as our next book. I hope you're ready to transform your life and take that next step into your dream life. Everything you need is within you. You don't depend on anything or anyone outside of you. And in this book, I remind you of that. Trust your internal GPS. Dare to fly blindfolded. Don't be afraid of fear or uncertainty. You're not alone. The process can be fascinating. A lot of people tell me that I changed their lives, and hopefully you choose to be next. Let me accompany you in the process. Let go and trust. Signed, Mabel. And I'm going to link below where you can purchase the book. Of course, it's on Amazon. She has a Kindle version and a paperback version, but I also saw it other places, so I'll be sure to link different places below where you can purchase the book. Please purchase the book and honor her energy, the author's energy and time and effort. When we change, others change too. Let go and trust. And just to let you know, as I'm flipping through these Kindle pages, the digital pages, there are beautiful illustrations. I just wish they were in color, but there's an illustration of a butterfly on flowers, dragonfly, and a bird. So if you love art, it's beautiful. These pages are beautiful. Introduction. Thank you for being here and for giving me the opportunity to share with you. At these important times of great paradigm shifts, it is key to create a community and cooperate and support each other. And I hope you feel comfortable and safe enough to be in the community here. This channel, it has a lot of Ho'oponopono and other things to inspire you to get to where you want to be in life. So feel free to join the community here. I know Mabel Katz has a community. I will link her webpage below. I believe when you join up for her membership is when you have access to the community, and people, if you need support, people will do Ho'oponopono over your issues when you write in the community feature of her membership and website. Now more than ever, you must let go and trust and learn to see your challenges differently, knowing that they are always opportunities to grow, learn, and be better. I love that. I'm going to write that down. I do know that challenges are opportunity, but I think I want to put that somewhere where I can see it all the time, because sometimes I get triggered and I want to be able to get to that place. Okay, even if I'm triggered, then maybe in a minute I can know, or even within a second, I can know, okay, this is my opportunity. It's not for me to be triggered, but it's for me to experience an opportunity or a reward, something that is positive and something that is beneficial. You must change your perception to see, speak, and act more from inspiration. This is the easiest path to peace, happiness, and abundance. I know that we're living through difficult times. People write to me from all over the world with fears, worries, and problems, with that feeling that seems as if the end of the world is approaching. The news sells us situations of fear that make us live very uneasily, and we no longer know who to believe or who to trust or who is speaking to us with the truth. You have to realize that we are all in a different era. You cannot keep buying or getting hooked on certain things. I understand that sometimes it's hard not to, but if you really want to change your life and contribute to creating a better world for yourself and the next generations, you can't keep doing the same things and expect different results. You can no longer afford to keep buying fear because if you do, you will miss the boat. It's time to trust and accept that everything that happens is right and perfect. I understand that it is impossible to understand it intellectually, but you can take it further. For that, you have to realize that God, the universe, is indeed with us, that there is a divine order, and that things don't happen by chance. There is no such thing as good or bad luck. It all depends on your decisions, and it happens because it is right for your evolution and spiritual growth. I would like to clarify that when I mention God here, I do not do it from a religious point of view. I speak of that part that is within us, that created us, that knows us better than anyone, and has all the answers and solutions to our problems. And I've been reading the Course in Miracles, and what I have learned is that there's really only one problem and, in effect, one solution. And so, what I believe to be true is that what Dr. Hew Len said is that we have erroneous data, we have erroneous memories playing in our subconscious mind. And so, when we clear the data, we get to that solution, because the solution is to clear the data, and then the perfect solution to whatever seems to be the problem comes, and you can solve anything with divinity. We can define it as a mind more intelligent than ours, which thought about the human body, the mountains, and the ocean. So God is a mind more intelligent than ours, which he thought or she thought about the human body. They thought about the human body, the mountains, and the oceans. Let me tell you that I found God within me when I began to trust myself. I do not doubt that we all have him inside, and he is closer than our own breath. He is just waiting for us to give him permission to act, to protect us, and to guide us in the best direction possible. Be aware that there is a divine rhythm. You may notice it in nature, in animals or birds. You must recover your rhythm. You are out of tune. If you can understand a little more, you will possibly be able to accept and perceive what is happening differently. Beyond the cosmos, time, space, and everything that moves and changes, this is the substantial reality, the fundamental truth. This is the real being. Nothing remains, everything changes and evolves. Therefore, it is time to remember and connect with that power that we all have. That is the reason why you have to let go and trust. Know that you are not alone, and that if you ask for help, the perfect help will always come. In the following pages of this book, I answer many of the recurring questions I receive. And I'm sure that by reading them, you will connect with your own inspiration and receive the answers and messages you are looking for. It's time to let go of fears and remind you of the power that you have in you. Time to wake up and be able to contribute to this important moment of ascension with your talents and natural gifts. Time to be aware that you are an embodied, very powerful soul who chose to come to earth for a purpose, and that you have something important to contribute. Yes, you can make a difference in the world. I invite you to remember what innate talents you have, your purpose. What would you do to change the world? Take a minute to reflect about it. So I took a minute to reflect on it, and I'm doing what I am doing. What I'm doing is changing the world, being myself, doing what I'm led to do by inspiration. So I'm already doing it, and of course I could do it even more. And so that's where I'm at in my life and in my walk. What about you? Let go and trust. We are on chapter 1. This particular book has 6 chapters. Oh, and if you want to hear more commentary and get into zero frequency, I've created a playlist. We have just finished Zero Frequency by the same author, Mabel Katz, and it was a joy to read. And I was kind of a little bit sad that it was over, so I'm glad we get to read this book. I love books on Ho'oponopono. If you have any book recommendations, please drop them down below. I love reading it. Reading about Ho'oponopono and reading testimonies with Ho'oponopono because it inspires me. This subject inspires me, and I just thank Joe Vitale for introducing me to Ho'oponopono. To attract more miracles to your life, you must free yourself from limiting thoughts. Let go, flow, trust, and be thankful for what you have instead of focusing on what you think you lack. And from a law of attraction perspective, if you're focusing on lack and on what you lack, you're just going to get more of lack. Together, let's discover the answers to your questions. How do I let go of the past? How do I change things I don't like? How do I delete memories or the recollections that hurt me? At some point, we all wonder about these things, and the answer is simple and very important. Decide to change now. Do not wait for the next year or the next week to do so. There is always an opportunity to transform ourselves. The time is now. Every breath is a new opportunity. Every morning is a new beginning. You don't have to think that the past is something that is going to repeat itself as an endless cycle. It all depends on the choices and decisions you make at any given time. You must know that God can erase the memories that are stored in your subconscious only if you let go and give permission. That's the only way to stop repeating what doesn't work. Those memories are the ones that continue to choose for you based on what you have lived and make the wrong decisions that control your life without you realizing it. So, it's my understanding that we have a subconscious mind, and our subconscious is like a computer program, and it's filled with data. And we have put bad data in for the most part, and it's the bad data that's running the programs that is creating the problems outside of us. I did not read the book. I think it's Zero or The Illusion. I'll put it below, but it's by Norretranders, and Dr. Hew Len refers to it. And it talks about how your subconscious is controlling your life. The only way to start over or to change your future is to leave the past behind, to let go of those ancient, even ancestral memories that keep repeating themselves, to start attracting different things. Every dawn is a new beginning, and every transmuted memory signifies new opportunities. This is to say that today you can choose to take responsibility, do your best to let go, and choose to surrender your problems to God, that part of you who knows best what to do, and give permission to transmute and correct those memories, most from other lifetimes or your ancestors, to be able to act more from inspiration and thus transform your life. It's about making this a practice until it becomes a part of your life. Nayada from the United States once asked me how she could let go and trust. So I explained, this is like exercising, like going to the gym. You have to let go and trust. Unconsciously, it's like breathing as memories are playing all the time. You want to make letting go a habit and a natural part of your life. You want to go with the flow. I managed to do it, and it really changed my life. When I realized that I was 100% responsible for everything that happened to me, I felt free for the first time. I no longer depended on anyone or anything outside of me. It was one of the things that gave me lots of peace. Since I was very little, I wanted to be independent, and I felt free for the first time in my life when I found out that everything depended on me. In taking responsibility, I know that everything depends on my decisions. For me, letting go is a new beginning. It's going back to the void, to zero, where anything can happen, where there are infinite possibilities. If I want a new life, I have to stop living in the past, forgive, and leave behind that heavy suitcase I carry. It doesn't matter what tool you use or what mechanism works. The secret is to let go of the past and live more in the present. I would like to clarify some terms here. For example, forgiving is not forgetting. Taking responsibility is not a synonym for guilt. Letting go doesn't mean resignation, and God is not a being outside of us. I also discovered that through the practice and help of Ho'oponopono, I didn't have to worry about all the things that concerned me before. Wow! Can you imagine? From then on, my only concern became asking myself, am I letting go? Am I permitting God to help me? I share this with you because it works, and because if you practice it, you can also, like me, find that peace and happiness you're looking for. It really works. When you let go instead of worrying, things start to work out in ways you never thought possible. And yes, let me tell you that sometimes I get hooked, like everyone else. I'm learning like you, but whenever I can, I let go again and try to do it as soon as possible. For example, when a problem arises, if we let go and surrender to God, He knows that He has our permission to intervene and can inspire us with the perfect solution. Also, something important that changed my life was knowing that I am not alone, that if I allow it, God will always be there to support me on my path. Trusting comes with practice, practice, and more practice. You can mentally repeat, I let go and trust. It's like when you delete something on a computer by accident. If you want different results, you need to change the responses and reactions to the problems. Okay, so stop talking to the monitor, expecting for the monitor to change. I'm reminding you of a wise phrase by Albert Einstein. Insanity is to continue doing the same, hoping for different results. How do I know when to take action and when not to? How to let go and trust, but not fall into passivity? Many times there are those people who get confused and then they ask me, well, Mabel, so what do I do? Or how do I make decisions? Sometimes it may be that inspiration itself makes us stay at home because if we went out, we could have an accident or we could avoid an encounter with someone who would cause us a problem. Nothing is a coincidence or an accident. You can choose to start trusting your own inspiration and make decisions by paying more attention to how you feel and not what you think is right. In a chat, a lady asked me if it would be right to move to another country. It was something that made her feel good, and she knew it was best for her and her children, but at the same time, she was very afraid. My response was, if this feels good, do it. Follow your inspiration. Allow God to guide and inspire you. Pay attention to the signs. I am always taking action, and making decisions. But I also, when I am conscious, I am cleaning to allow God to guide me. It is important to be able to stay present, not to worry, to be able to leave everything in God's hands, and to know that it is always better to walk hand in hand. Many times, you are going to do things because they feel good, and you will think they are right and perfect ones for you, but you may be criticized or thought of being crazy. Therefore, trusting yourself and having faith is very important. I want to tell you that even if things are right and perfect or come from inspiration, it does not mean that they will be easy or that there will be no problems. There are always opportunities to correct mistakes, pay off old debts, and break free. Inspiration will take you where you will be able to learn and thrive and could come to you as a thought, a feeling, a voice, or a sign. It's very personal and different for everyone. Okay, so usually when I get inspired to do things, it's usually through a thought, a feeling, or a sign. The voice, I usually don't hear a voice per se, but everyone's different, and so you may hear an audible voice. When I was inspired to go to France, when I was in Germany, well, first of all, I had no idea that I was going to go to France. I just thought I was going to go to Germany, but about a couple of weeks before I decided to go to France, my boss at the hotel was telling me about the Black Madonna. And I'm like, why is she telling me about the Black Madonna? I don't identify as Catholic per se, but because I know that God uses everything and everyone, I was like, okay, well, let me take this to heart. She gave me a video. I watched the video about the Black Madonna, and it talked about Paris and how Paris is one of the Black Madonna cities, and the Black Madonna is the embodiment of love. And so I was like, oh, wouldn't it be nice, now that I'm in Europe to go back to Paris because it's been a while since it had been. And so this was kind of percolating underneath the surface. And the way the hotel was run, you work 5 days and you're off 2 days. And then something, inspiration, prompted me to ask my boss, can I work for 10 days and get 4 days off and then go to France to see what this Black Madonna energy is about, to go to Paris in particular. And so the in that case, the inspiration came as a thought and a feeling, because it's like, ooh, I want to go to Paris. And it came as a sign because my boss brought it up. I wasn't seeking out the Black Madonna. I didn't even know that there was a Black Madonna. So that's how inspiration works for me. And again, inspiration can work for you a little bit differently. And then she goes on to give an example. When I answer a question, I am not thinking, I'm just flowing with it. And this is what you need to work on. You have to stop thinking so much. Start acting without thinking. Don't plan, or at least don't plan too much. Become a little more spontaneous. Be a child again, and trust yourself. Many times you will have to look back to realize that it has been your own inspiration that guided you, and you will say, wow. Probably at the moment you will not realize that you are being guided if you stop thinking and analyzing. If you doubt, you lose. If you're flowing with inspiration but start questioning or doubting, you're stopping or cutting the flow. Questions and doubts are also memories, and you can let them go in order to transmute them and bring even more inspiration and divine guidance. And when she's talking about questions here, she's talking about those questions that kind of have a barb on them. And when I say barb, they're kind of like digging questions, assaulting questions, attacking questions, which are different from inspiring questions. Um, I like to ask, how good can my life get? That's an inspired question. Um, Cynthia Sue Larson has, how good can it get? And I put in, how good can my life get? And when you ask inspired questions, your subconscious mind will look for the answers. Let's see, would an infinite being choose this? That's from Dr. Dane Heer and Gary Douglas. And for me, that's an expansive, inspired question. You might have questions that you ask that can get you to inspiration. One of my questions that I ask, if not on a daily basis, an almost daily basis, is, what magic is available to me today? What magic will today bring? And so I'm looking for things to be grateful for and opportunities. Okay, let's see. So you don't need to know or understand. So this is the idea. Let go, allow your question to be transmuted, and you will see how things start flowing. Many begin to see, hear, or recognize signs. The important thing is that when it starts happening to you, just trust. Do not regard the signs. Go with the flow. God will find a way to communicate with each one of us, and it will be different for everyone because we are unique. You have to trust yourself. For me, to start trusting represented to work on my self-confidence. Then I realized that I have something like a magic wand that works only if I let go. Then one day I said to myself, it seems to me that I'm not alone, and I can choose to give permission to be guided and not have to do it alone. Eureka! I found the easiest way. What is preventing me from letting go and trusting? We are all stuck, sometimes more than others. It happens to us, to all of us, and perhaps what we need is a reminder to become aware that we need to start by letting go of expectations. What we expect is what that part of us that doesn't know anything tells us what we need or what we are missing to be happy. When you realize it, you simply have to let go and not engage with that part. Say thank you, but I don't have time for this. I have important things to do. You can have many expectations, but you have to realize that it is that part of you talking and making stories as if it knew, and only you can stop it. It is a decision, and it may happen again and again, but we must not give it our power, much less give it control over us. Deep down, there are always expectations. We all have them. You must manage to let go of them and not allow them to affect you and take you out of the present moment. Once a video about expectations was shared with me. The following is what I have transcribed for you. A man came to see God one day. Dear God, may I ask you a question? Of course, my son. Why did you let so many things happen to me today? What do you mean? Well, first I woke up late and had to hurry to get to work. Then my car took a long time to start. Well, God said calmly. The man continued, at lunch, they wrongly made the sandwiches I ordered, and I had to wait a long time. On the way home, my phone turned off just as I was getting a call. Okay, God said and smiled. And on top of all that, when I got home, I just wanted to soak my feet in my new foot massager and relax, but it didn't work. Nothing went right today. Why did you do that? God waited until the man finished speaking, and then with a smile said, let me see. The angel of death was in your bed this morning. I had to send one of the angels to fight him for your life. I let you sleep while this was happening. I didn't let your car start because there was a drunk driver on your route. It would have crashed into you if you had been on a road. The first person who made your sandwich today was sick. I didn't want you to catch what he had. I knew you couldn't miss your job. Your phone went out because the caller was going to bear false witness to what you were going to say in that call. I didn't even let you talk to her so you would be covered. And that foot massager had a short circuit that was going to cut off all the lights in your house that night. I thought you wouldn't want to be in the dark. Forgive me, God, said the man as tears began to fall on his cheeks. Don't apologize, my son. Learn to trust me in all things, in the good and the bad, and do not doubt that my plan for your day is always better than yours. Wow. I don't know if you guys are going to believe this or not, but I heard the same story earlier this week on Joel Osteen. He has a Sirius radio station on Sirius, and I randomly listened to his radio shows, and ironically, this was one of the stories that he told on his radio show. It is important to remember that in the moment, you do not know what is right and perfect for you. When you become aware that a voice in your head starts telling you stories, you just have to let go, but repeating mentally, thank you, I love you. Not buying expectations. By being aware, you can observe them, knowing that it is not you, and not give them power or control. I know it's hard not to get hooked, and I insist that you don't have to be disappointed if things don't go as you expected, or when not so pleasant or painful things happen. Remember, you do it to be at peace. It doesn't matter what happens around you. You have to give permission to God to act. He is the only one who can correct things. He helps you find solutions, perceive differently, and regain your power when allowing Him to steer the helm of your ship. And yes, it is true that sometimes bad things happen, but you do not have to see yourself or others as victims, because then you enter into a vicious circle. This is not the way to find the solution you are looking for. The best thing is for you to focus on everything you do have and what works for you. And I'm going to make that a challenge every day. Try to find at least a couple of things that worked for you for that day, and focus on a couple of things that you do have to be grateful for. I do that every day. I do have a planner, and I write in my planner the next morning after reflecting what the previous day was about. I do write things that I'm grateful for that was specific to that day. Reflecting on your senses is a true and wonderful gift, such as having 2 legs that allow you to walk and be independent. And even when your limbs fail you, you have life, intelligence, heart, and hope, which are things that are proven to help you fly through life. The important thing is to reflect on things you take for granted. That's how it had to be, and that's it. How many people are grateful for having 2 eyes, 2 legs, and 2 arms? We don't take it into account. We never give importance or think how blessed and fortunate we are. So, if you suddenly break a leg, it could be because at some point you didn't listen and didn't take the time to stop. If that ever happened to you, you always have to remember that it could be because something worse was coming. And above all, if you are practicing Ho'oponopono, you always have to say thank you. Not out of resignation, but out of acceptance that opportunities are coming for you to learn, and we must welcome them. People are always asking, why did this happen to me? I have such bad luck. However, they did not realize that what happened to them is helping them grow. And when we grow, we become better human beings. In addition, as mentioned above, we will never know what we avoided at the time. That is, what could have really happened. In the same manner, you don't have to hold on to what you're so interested in or want to get. It is an achievement that you aspire to or something material. You also have to let go and leave it in God's hand by saying to Him, "You know what's right and perfect for me. I will do my part. I let go." We let go of expectations, and we know that if things don't come the way we expected, it's because something better is coming. I love that. Something better is coming. During that time, it is also very important that you open your mind to all possibilities because you never know where the solution may come from. You may be surprised. For you to let go, you need to stop thinking about it. If you don't let go of the worrying, you somehow are not allowing the right things to come your way. Remember that you have free will, but if you resist it, you don't allow God to act. You can't be asking outside or comparing because this isn't school. God, the universe, is watching you, and the more you trust, the more He will look for ways to communicate with you more clearly. He knows you better than anyone else. Trust is a must. So, for me, sometimes, not necessarily now, but let me just say this. Sometimes I have a hard time reading the signs. When I get an inspiration and it's a good feeling or it's a thought, I understand that. But I have problems with reading the signs. So I'm going to do Ho'oponopono over reading the signs. And that way, in the future, I can get clarity on what different signs mean. So I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And as I'm saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. I'm just thinking about not hearing clearly and also thinking about hearing clearly. Okay. And I also made a note to revisit this. We must also know that we will all, at some point, we must know also that we all, at some point, are assailed by doubts. But what to do in situations of doubts and insecurities? The point is that you do not stay hooked or try to understand why this or that happens or how you're going to resolve it. Instead of doing this, you should let go and leave space to receive inspiration. This is a completely different way of seeing the situations in your life. The universe knows the what's, why's, and how's. You do not have to. You just need to know that there is a memory playing inside your subconscious mind that is attracting your problems, and that if you let go, God can transmute it. I'm going to say that one more time because this is, I'm getting a message. I'm going to put you guys on pause. Okay, and we are back. You just need to know that there is a memory playing. You just need to know there is a memory playing inside your subconscious mind that is attracting your problem, and that if you let go, God can transmute it. Peace is out of our comfort zone, and we often boycott it. This is important. You must be alert at all times to make better decisions. When those memories appear, say thank you, but I am busy. The important thing is to be patient, keep letting go, and trust your own inspiration. Communicate with God in a way it feels right to you. Singing, talking, connecting with nature, dancing, anything that works for you to stay present and stop the chattering in your head, the doubts and fears. During a seminar in Madrid, somebody asked me, "Does this ever stop?" My response was, "Unfortunately, no. This is about learning to become the observer and not engage with it. Live with it and stop giving it the power and control over us. It is about making different choices and decisions. That's where the trick is. who do we give the power to? Of course, we wouldn't give it to doubts or fears because that would lead us to a vicious circle without getting different results. It is about finding the right answers and solutions by trusting and letting go and by working with God directly, that part of us that knows better. Trusting God led me to see greater results. Let me tell you, there is no way to do this wrong. Ooh, I love that. So much we get from society says that we're wrong. One time I just met the person, and he was telling me I was wrong, and it's like, wow, okay, interesting. But when you're in school, you have the teacher that's telling you it's wrong. And it's like, is it really wrong? Sometimes it's just the point of view that I have versus the point of view that you have. Everyone has their own perspective. But let me get back to the text. We must always do what works for us and trust our own inspiration. Stop listening to the part of you that doesn't know and to others. Stop listening to others and connect more with your heart. It gives me a lot of excitement and satisfaction to be able to share this with you and bring a tool that works so you can be a little more at peace in your life. The road can be difficult, but always keep in mind that there is an easier way. It depends on your choices. Chapter 2: In Search of Your Natural Gifts and the Encounter of Your Spiritual Mission and Journey. You will never find happiness outside of yourself. When you do what you love, you're happy and everything else will be added. How do I discover my passion, mission, and spiritual path? In response to this question, I always respond with what has been a magical question for me. What would you do even if you didn't get paid? And to answer it, you should never think about the response or worry about it. Just respond with the first thing that comes to your mind, even if it sounds ridiculous at the moment. Just go with it. Something will happen and it will come to you spontaneously because there is a part of you that already knows it. Again, do not be surprised if the answer that arises is ridiculous and does not make sense, nor if there is no answer. You have to keep letting go and trusting that you will discover it at the perfect and right time. You must be patient. When we make the decision that we already know, the universe takes care of it. But when wanting to find that path, in addition to letting go and delivering, we have to open our minds and be alert because we will never know where the answer could come from. You can naturally talk to God and say, God, here I am. I'd like to know what my purpose is, what I have come to do on the earth this time. The important thing is that you feel good about yourself, accept yourself, be grateful for what you have, and live in the present moment. You have to trust, let yourself be guided, and have patience. And, as I have already shared before, I did not immediately leave my career as an accountant. For this to happen, it took several years. I hadn't even contemplated leaving my profession as a tax specialist in the United States. I can assure you that when you look back, you will be greatly surprised and you will realize that everything was right and perfect the way it was. When looking for your passion, it is important to pay attention to the signs. Seriously, I did not plan to change my profession. I was happy, I was doing very well, and there was no reason for me to change. I always had plenty of work and made very good money. But I became a little more aware, a little more open and flexible. I learned to go with the flow. I trusted and things just started happening on their own. No more planning from my intellect. Things don't happen by chance, so it's not about having to know what you need, but about letting yourself be guided. Imagine that it was in 1997 when I took my first Ho'oponopono seminar, and anyone would have thought that at that moment I said, Eureka! I found my mission. But it wasn't like that. I wasn't even looking for it. I thought my professional life worked just fine. I was just looking for more peace and happiness in my personal life. It wasn't until several years later that I realized this was my purpose. It had never crossed my mind that one day I was going to teach something. I left my profession completely in 2008, and anyone might wonder why so long after my first seminar. But when you look back, you realize that everything was perfect and correct, and that it was years of preparation for what was coming. By the way, my journey with Ho'oponopono began as work for personal growth, and then I began to promote and organize the seminars for my teacher, Dr. Hew Len, and it was always related to my personal life. Yes, I started to practice it as an accountant, and then I realized that it really worked very well in that area too. It was one of the things that helped me trust and believe more in all of this. Subsequently, I began teaching with Dr. Hew Len, and shortly after, I was already teaching alone, but always as a hobby on the weekends. Teaching was not my thing. It is also important to know that many times when you find your purpose, you begin to do it for free, and you start doing it in parallel with other activities. Nothing to worry about or plan. If you allow it, the universe is going to start opening doors and clearing the way for you. Important. Please note that even though I tell you that it is important to find out what you would do even if you don't get paid, that is just a clue. That doesn't mean you have anything, that doesn't mean you have to do anything for free for the rest of your life. On the contrary, there must be an exchange of energy. If we don't pay, we don't receive. If you want to help others, you must charge them, otherwise, the person will not receive the benefit. I don't know, is that true? That to me is an interesting point of view. I don't know if that's true. If you want to help others, you must charge them, otherwise, the person will not receive the benefit. I don't know. I'm going to clear over that statement, not because it's necessarily wrong or necessarily wrong for me or wrong for her or wrong for anyone, but I'm just wondering, is that true? We do not value or put effort, do our part when something does not cost us. Sometimes we want to see results immediately, but God knows what the right and perfect times are for us. We must learn to have a little patience and look within ourselves, because that's where everything we are looking for is. Stay alert. Don't be afraid to be alone or silent. Become the observer. Remember that you're never really alone. Talk to God. He is always there listening to you. Knowing that He accompanies you is also very important, because that in itself will give you a lot of peace. Stop thinking and worrying. Let go and trust, as everything that is right and perfect for you will come effortlessly. Mabel, what can I do to be at peace and be happy? Good question. The most important thing is to find peace, to be able to be happy, and that nothing more and nothing less, and that is nothing more and nothing less than a decision. The most important thing is to find peace and to be able to be happy, and that is nothing more and nothing less than a decision. When you manage to find that peace and happiness within, everything begins to change and open up. New opportunities will appear in your life, and things will begin to happen for you that you will not be able to explain how they happen. That's kind of the idea. First, you find yourself so that you can be at peace, feel good in your own skin, free and happy. So the first thing is you have to find yourself so that you can be at peace, so that you can feel good in your own skin and be free and be happy. If you want to discover your natural talents, let go, trust, and connect with your heart, with the things that are easy for you to do, with those things that do not involve any effort, those that you like to do and give you so much satisfaction, those that you would do for free. The most important thing is to surrender and allow the universe to show you and guide you. Remember that you have free choice. Don't think or worry. As long as you're choosing to let go and allowing God to transmute those memories playing in your subconscious mind, you're already doing something very important, and you're making a difference, because what gets erased from you gets erased from everybody. We are family. That's right, our main purpose is coming to erase and make amends, and that is what we want to do to live more peacefully. Some people may have come to this time with a mission of reconnecting with themselves. They may have come to make a difference in the lives of their relatives, of their community, or maybe just to give birth to a very important soul who will come to make great changes to the planet or to pay off a debt. Don't get overwhelmed thinking that you must find a mission that makes you famous in the world or become a millionaire. And please, whenever you have an achievement, no matter how small you consider it to be, celebrate it and appreciate it. A question that many people ask me is, what do I do with the goals I've set? Well, if you like to set goals, do not get attached to them, because if you are always thinking about them, you'll be living in the future. At the same time, other doors or paths may be opening up for you, and you will not recognize them if you are so closed-minded to what you believe is the right path for you. Also, it may not be so bad to let go of your goals, to let yourself be guided, and allow the right and perfect thing for you to only happen in your life as if by magic. You must be your priority. You have to do what works for you. Be at peace and be happy. Don't worry, because everything that's right for you is going to come. You must relax, be patient, and treat yourself well. You must practice letting go, trusting, and listening to the heart more in order to be able to identify the things that God has in store for you. It's important to start paying a little more attention to the body, which is wise and intelligent, and ask yourself, how does this feel? Does it feel good? Notice your reaction. In one of our spiritual journeys to Mount Shasta, California, we learned the technique of using the body as a pendulum. Ask a question, and if, for example, the body goes forward, it means yes. It is also called muscle testing. Some people also use their fingers, and if they ask and they open, it means no. As you can see, you have many tools in case of doubt, without even leaving an inch of your body. These are not the things I use, but there is no doubt that the body is intelligent and knows. This is something I confirmed when I was at the Osho's ashram once in India, where through very different and interesting meditation techniques, I was able to verify that the body is very intelligent. Okay, I'm going to start that over. These are not the things I use, but there is no doubt that the body is intelligent and knows. This is something I confirmed when I was at the Osho's ashram once in India, where through very different and interesting meditation techniques, I was able to verify that the body is very intelligent. Some included dancing, others caused our bodies to start shaking and moving. For example, I'll tell you that my body moved on one occasion in a way where I wasn't sure if I was forcing it. When it stopped, I tried to do it again and I couldn't. That showed me that the body can also heal itself, because it has that kind of knowledge. We never listen to it because we pay more attention to our intellect and our stories instead of letting ourselves be guided by this inner wisdom and flow. And also, in my experience, we also listen to other people and we give them power over our innate intelligence of our bodies. I learned to pay more attention to my body, especially my heart, and now I do things because they feel good, not because somebody else thinks that it is the right thing. I learned to stop the intellect by repeating mentally, I let go and trust, and letting myself be guided, stop the thinking and worrying. And the truth is that this is what has allowed me to find my mission in life without really looking for it. and to do things that I've never dreamed of, that would never have occurred to me, and that I did not even learn in school or college. So, pay more attention to your body, how it feels, and whether it resonates with you or don't. Don't seek approval on the outside, and don't pay attention to what others think you should be doing or what others expect of you. If you trust yourself and follow what your heart dictates, you will not get lost, and life itself will show you the way. And going back to muscle testing, I first heard of it through, I believe his name is David Hawkins, and there's a book called Power versus Force, and that's where I first heard of muscle testing. How do I activate the power of attraction? How do I activate the power of attraction? What you think, you attract. And once you are aware of the power of your thoughts, you realize the importance of paying attention and working with them, especially those that may be on a subconscious level that you do not know how they may be playing against what you want to attract. You are like a boomerang. You have to be careful what you do, think, or say because everything comes back. Many times you think things like, I have bad luck, I am a victim, or everyone takes advantage of me. You're so powerful that you're always right. And if you think like that, that's what you're going to attract. There is definitely a power of attraction and manifestation that we all have innately. Just as a kind of a simple way that I knew that the law of attraction worked was I started saying, I love my afro, I love my afro, I love my hair. And when I started saying that to myself, in the same week, I had 2 people tell me that they loved my afro. That had never happened before. And so that was just a simple way that I knew that the law of attraction worked. Again, I remind you that many of these thoughts may be at the subconscious level and you're not even conscious of them. Therefore, it is important to be practicing Ho'oponopono all the time because these thoughts play 24 hours a day in the background. And if you ever hear yourself repeating any of these phrases, don't engage with them. Just mentally repeat, thank you, but I'm busy, or just say, thank you, or I love you, and let them go. You have to let go and trust. The universe is always there to support you, guide you, and bring you what is right and perfect for you, which in general is very near you, but you do not see it, or you cannot identify it because you're not open enough to recognize it. In the meantime, don't forget to be grateful for what you have. Carla from Mexico asked me, I know I should be thankful for everything I have, but what if I don't like my job? Even if you don't like your job, remember you are there to clean. It is an opportunity. Do not resist it. Be grateful. Think about all the things you can be grateful for, such as having a job. It's a way to change your energy and give permission to the universe. If you're not in the right place, don't worry. Something is going to happen and better doors will open for you. Sometimes you have to close certain doors so that others can be open. Let go and trust. Open up and start paying more attention to what is in front of you. You're going to be surprised. Maybe what you're looking for is very close to you. Dare to leave your comfort zone and feel the fears, but do it anyway. Mabel, how can I attract the right thing for my life? The best way to attract what is right and perfect for you is to let go and allow God to guide you. This is the easiest way to do it. You must stop being an obstacle in your own life. You can mentally repeat, I hold God's hand, and thus stop thinking and worrying and live more in the present moment, in the now. The fewer plans you have, the better. I remember that every time I made plans and shared them with Dr. Hew Len, he would tell me that the entire universe was laughing. Surely you have heard the saying, man proposes, but God disposes. Or man plans and God laughs at the plans. It is best to live in the present moment and make wise decisions spontaneously as they come our way. We must stop complaining and know that everything that comes our way is for our own good. All situations are opportunities to correct and erase, and thus be able to grow and learn. Everything is a stepping stone towards our freedom. That's why you should say thank you for what you like and also for what you don't like. Adversity makes you stronger and a better person. And that's true. Anytime that I get stuck, I know better than to send out negative energy with my thoughts. But anytime I get stuck and like someone, kind of like an earworm, someone gets stuck in my mind, I just say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And as I do that, the person, I don't know, like this morning I had a situation and I kept saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I can't even remember what the person looks like. So that's how clearing Ho'oponopono is, how quick it can work, and sometimes there are layers. So don't feel bad if things don't work quickly all the time. Some instances they will seem to work quick, and some instances it may seem to take a while, but still give thanks. God will never bring you a situation that you cannot handle, so you should be proud that God is holding you in such regard. On the other hand, remember that you will always have challenges because life is like that. You're in the earth. You are in earth school. Do you want to graduate? Yes, this is your chance. Things happen to all of us. When a problem goes away, you forget you ever had it, and now you worry because of the new problem you have in front of you. Therefore, you have to know that something is always going to be happening. This is why it is up to you to observe and let go, not to react and resist. Do not identify with the problems and remember that the problem is not the problem. How you react to the problem is the problem. Have you ever noticed that every time there's a problem, you're there? I remember Dr. Hew Len saying that in one of his seminars. It means that there is something inside you attracting it. This does not make you guilty, but it makes you responsible, and since it is within you, you can change it without depending on anything or anyone outside yourself. On the other hand, please do not identify with those memories of scarcity, nor with the conflicts and the relationships in your life. Just observe them. Most of them are memories replaying from other lifetimes or ancestors. They are all opportunities to erase and set you free. You can change them if you're willing to let go and allow them to be erased from your subconscious mind. What is erased in you is erased in others because they are memories in common and appear in your life to give you another chance. And I'm just going to stop here. If you do engage with these memories, with these conflicts, what could happen is by the law of attraction, you may repeat the same conflicts. It may look like a different body, a different person, but that energy will still be there. So please erase, 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 erase. If you erase and I erase, we can probably heal the whole entire planet, one person at a time. And definitely, Ho'oponopono helps you do that and takes you to zero, to the void where all the answers and all the solutions are. It helps us to be present and to live moment by moment, not to worry about the future or to get stuck in the past. All we need to do is allow God to transmute in us and inspire us. If we do our part, let go, God does his part, takes care of it. It's important to be patient because we do not know what is right or what is the perfect time for us. Trusting time. Know that you are not alone and that if you let him, God is taking care of you. So, when that part of you intrudes and questions, it seems to me that this does not work, you also say thank you and continue letting go and trusting. There is not much you have to do. Life just guides you if you allow it. But Mabel, what do I have to do? You just have to let go, easier than you think, and let yourself be guided. As I said before, you surely have special talents and gifts, and you are here for something important. Let the universe reveal them to you. God already knows what you're looking for. Don't try to push or force anything. Everything comes at the right and perfect time. Let go and trust and prepare to be surprised. Regaining control. This is chapter 3. Regaining control and power over your life. You will be a victim for the rest of your life if you keep acting as such and not realize that you have inside of you everything you need to change your life. How do I adapt to change and stay on track? God always gives you great opportunities. The issue is whether you're going to react, whether you're going to try to understand it, whether you're going to ask questions that have no answers, or instead just let go and allow yourself to be guided. Ho'oponopono is, I'm sorry, forgive me for whatever is in me that is attracting this. That doesn't mean you're guilty, and it doesn't make you a bad person or a sinner. But it's only when you take responsibility for everything that you do that you truly make a difference in your life and others. You need to observe as if you're watching a movie. Remember that the movie is never on the screen, but on the projector. Life is the screen where the memories are playing and our subconscious are projected. So life is the screen. It's like a 3D movie screen where the memories are playing and our subconscious are projected. Wow. When I said that, I got the flash of one of the chapters in The Journey Home by Cryon. If you love this concept, you might enjoy listening to The Journey Home, and I made a playlist of the chapters that I've read. You are making decisions all the time, and every decision has a consequence. Sometimes you're allowing your replayed memories to choose for you at the subconscious level, but you can choose to make them consciously from inspiration or new information. If you really want to make a difference in the world and you want to help, you have to let go. You have to give God permission to correct and inspire you instead of trying to do it alone, thinking that you know better. The world has changed a lot. Don't try to understand what is happening. Don't waste your time wondering how you're going to solve things or when you will do it. Just delete what is in your subconscious mind, creating all the chaos. Don't miss the opportunity to change it and make a difference for yourself and the world. Remember that Ho'oponopono cleaning is like an investment. It is like depositing money in a spiritual bank that pays very good interest. Since what is erased in you is also erased in others, especially in your family, relatives, and ancestors, you will never know how many lives you may have saved because we all have common memories. This is why by doing so, you stay on the right track. You benefit yourself and you help others. As I told you, everything comes back. Someone keeps tabs on us. Do not worry. If you let go and trust, you will always have what you need when you need it, and you will always be cared for, guided, and protected. Don't get hooked on your worries or fears. The problems may still be there. Perhaps they have not been solved or the fear is not gone, but you must keep going. Continue letting go and trusting, and don't let yourself be distracted or controlled by them. The main thing is for you to realize that it doesn't just happen to you. This happens to everyone, and you are simply choosing to be at peace no matter what is going on around you. The road might get a little harder, but it doesn't have to for you because you go hand in hand with God. You are not alone. Let go of those doubts, those fears, the trying to understand. Always keep looking forward, repeating mentally, I let go and trust, to return to the present moment and move on. I also invite you to watch my free basic Ho'oponopono course, where you can also learn about the glass of water tool we use to let go and be at peace. Also, some people have reported that it helps them a lot to write and let go of the problem in my Ho'oponopono phone application. And there is a QR code. How do I take, actually, there's two QR codes. How do I take 100% responsibility? I know it can be hard to accept that you're 100% responsible for what you attract in your life. Not only is this true, but it is also very good news. Do you know why? It gives you back your power. It liberates you and makes you independent. Please know that when someone tells us a problem, the problem is ours. When a patient tells his pain to the doctor, the problem is in the doctor. The problem is with the teacher, not the student, and so on. I know this is a difficult concept for the intellect to understand, but they don't come to you or appear in your life because you're guilty. They really come to you to give you another chance, the chance to erase, and what is erased in you is also erased in them. When you realize this, you stop taking things personally. You let go and surrender, knowing they are allowing you to make amends. So when you realize this, you stop taking things personally. You let go and surrender, knowing they are allowing you to make amends. Be grateful for the opportunity, repeating mentally, even if you don't feel like it, or even if you don't even feel it. It's a way to let go and not get engaged. Do not resist. What you resist persists. This way, things start happening and rewards come faster. You have no idea of God's possibilities. He can have ways to solve your problems and solutions that would never have occurred to you. You have to understand that there is nobody out there taking advantage or abusing you. I'm going to say that again. You have to understand that there is nobody out there taking advantage or abusing you. And I'm going to say thank you, 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 thank you over that. And as I was saying thank you, I was thinking of being abused, not necessarily physically, but verbally, people abusing their power, people being corrupt. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You are 100% responsible for what you attract in your life, and everything is perfect, just memories replaying in your subconscious mind. Let God accommodate everything. Let yourself be guided, and, as always, be patient, because maybe the solution will not happen overnight, but it will happen. Many people ask me if by taking 100% responsibility, can they set limits or not? And yes, of course, you shouldn't allow yourself to be abused because you are 100% responsible. Sure, you can set limits, and to me, I would say boundaries. Sure, you can set limits or boundaries and not accept certain things or people in your life. It is okay to say, enough. This is not okay with me anymore. This doesn't work for me. I can leave an abusive relationship because I love and respect myself, and I'm not going to set limits, but I will take 100% responsibility. I am responsible. I attracted it. I will not blame the other person, and I will work on myself. Otherwise, I will keep repeating it in other situations or future relationships. You have to set the limits. Okay? And I just want to read this part again. I can leave an abusive relationship because I love and respect myself, and I'm going to set limits, but I will take. Okay, something didn't click right there. This doesn't work for me. I can leave an abusive relationship because I love and respect myself, and I'm going to set limits, but I will take 100% responsibility. I am responsible. I attracted it. I will not blame the other person, and I will work on myself. Otherwise, I will keep repeating it in other situations or future relationships. And I love that. I am so grateful to come across this information. And if you are in your 20s or younger, you guys are so lucky to have come across this information at a time when you were young. And you definitely can see things in your life. And I can see things too. And if you're not seeing the results of Ho'oponopono because someone did write to me that, I'm going to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. Please give us eyes to see and ears to hear how Ho'oponopono is working in our lives. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And listener, if you're listening, please remember to do Ho'oponopono as you listen. Also, feel free to stop the video, and if you have something really juicy that comes up for you, please do Ho'oponopono. Use this as an opportunity. Use your listening as an opportunity to do Ho'oponopono. Okay, you have to set the limits. If you don't respect yourself, no one will. You can clean with people even at a distance. Again, it is important to remember to take responsibility, to know that you are attracting it, but it does not mean that you should stay there. By taking 100% responsibility, we also have to keep letting go when things get complicated or do not turn out as we expected or when we expect it. Keep letting go and trusting, accepting, and knowing in your heart that God knows best and that there is a divine order. Let go of what makes you unhappy. Don't keep resisting. Show the other cheek, the cheek of love. Always put yourself first and take care of yourself. You definitely want to let go of wanting to be right or having the last word. Become humble and realize you don't know what is right. Better choose to be happy, right? Maybe you haven't realized it and there's a reason you stay in toxic relationships or situations. Maybe you do it because unconsciously there's something about your intellect that considers it positive. Maybe you have to give up being taken care of, being loved, or being supported. Again, this is just at the subconscious level. That's why you don't realize it consciously, but deep down, you're losing much more because you're being dependent on someone else's approval and care. Be aware that you are very capable and can change your life without depending on anything or anyone. You have to trust yourself. Remember, you have everything you need inside. The idea is to be able to be at peace, but how do you achieve it? You must keep yourself in the present moment and give God permission to take care of you and guide you. Then you will find yourself at the right place at the perfect time with the right people. Mabel, but what happens when you have an illness? We must be grateful even for an illness because it is another possibility to learn, grow, and be better. So for me, I had been sick, and for me, that was my opportunity to care for myself and to put myself first. Okay, going back to the text, that illness is your teacher too. We must not take it as if we must not take it as if it were punishment or bad luck, nor should we feel bad about ourselves because we did something wrong. You simply have to be grateful and live moment by moment in the present. It's always a blessing, even if it doesn't look like it. Do not pay attention to your intellect. Remember that it does not have all the information and it doesn't know. Are they all memories in our subconscious mind? Yes, it's all about memories replaying in your subconscious. Even to a headache, even to a headache, you want to say, I love you, and show it the other cheek, the cheek of love. What you resist persists. You can be at peace even if you have pain or if you are sick. If you relax and are at peace, despite having some difficulty, everything will pass faster. It will not be so serious and it will not bother you so much. So what I've learned, because there's been times where I've been in pain and I've said I love you and the pain goes through. And what I've learned is that by not resisting the pain, it's easier to pass. Again, if you take responsibility and let go, things will be able to affect you and control you less. Plus, you have the universe's help. Taking 100% responsibility and not worrying often leads to situations where doctors don't understand how a tumor disappeared, how you can continue to live a normal life, how it doesn't hurt anymore, and how you can walk the same. I've heard so many miraculous stories, and sometimes I feel like my life is a miracle too. I know that sometimes it doesn't happen overnight. You have to let go, trust, and be patient. Fernanda from Argentina asked me, how do I avoid reacting? Instead of engaging in a situation, put some distance and become the observer. Do not identify with the problem. Choose to be happy. When you take 100% responsibility and let go, you are more in control of your life. Instead of thinking that there is someone outside of yourself who is doing something to you and you are blaming them for it. Okay, so instead of doing that, we're going to take 100% responsibility. I'll be honest, not everything is black or white. Sometimes inspiration can lead you to take action, other times it can lead to inaction because at that moment the right thing is to do nothing. The important thing is that you trust your own inspiration, that you do not hesitate, and when things do not change as when you expect it, that you keep letting go, especially of your expectations. Okay, sometimes inspiration can lead you to take action. Other times it can lead to inaction because at that moment the right thing to do is nothing. The important thing is that you trust your own inspiration, that you do not hesitate, and when things do not change, as and when you expect it, that you keep letting go of your expectations. I know that many times you say that you take responsibility, that you let go and you trust, but you really don't. You keep thinking about what worries you, and this is how the process stops because it's like facing two opposing forces, letting go and resisting. Everything is perfect and correct because the universe is perfect. Everything happens for some reason that perhaps the intellect will never understand. There are no victims, and we have all what we need inside to get out of those situations. There are no victims, and we all have what we need inside to get out of those situations. In your case, it all depends on your attitude and your thoughts. I also have challenges. I also do the best I can. We all do the best we can, and God knows it. There are crucial times. These are crucial times. Do not engage on circumstances or events and stop blaming and complaining because each of us has the possibility of erasing those memories in our subconscious. And when you do it, it's a way to make a change and help others too. When you take responsibility, you're not doing it just for yourself. You're doing it to change the destiny of the world. Okay, you're changing the destiny of the world. You're making history, and I swear you're gonna be rewarded. And this is what came up for me. Remember how I was saying someone kept telling me I was wrong, and I just admit the person? Well, I got a download or an upload. I received a memory from my subconscious mind when I was younger, say about 4 or 5 or 6, around that time frame, where one of my parents told me that I always break toys. Now, I was a child. Perhaps I was heavy-handed, or perhaps the toys were just cheaper. And I can understand why parents would say that because, they're working so hard and sometimes toys break. And so the energy of that, when the person told me that, it was like I was wrong for, just playing and being a kid. And so feel free, if a memory comes up for you for something like that, feel free to do Ho'oponopono over. I'm just going to make a few phrases and make a note to follow up with this memory. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And I'm sorry if you've ever felt wrong because of something breaking in your life, whether it be a broken heart or relationship breakups. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. How does the ego affect our energy, and how can we free ourselves from it? What does the ego want? The ego wants to be right and have the last word. It thinks that it knows what is right and perfect, that it knows good and bad, but actually it doesn't know. It doesn't have the entire information. On the other hand, it's very important. It's a very important part of us because it is the part that has the power to choose freely. Therefore, it is responsible for initiating the Ho'oponopono cleansing process. You don't want to resist it or label it as bad because what you resist persists. It's a matter of making it your ally and showing it that what a better way is to be at peace rather than being right. So showing it what is better is to be at peace than to be right. So the ego, we want to make it our friend, and we want to show that there is a better way, and that's to be at peace rather than being right. And in a lot of spiritual circles, I hear people say that the mind is bad. Well, the mind is a tool, and we don't want to resist the mind. The ego is, in a way, an illusion, the duality of what we think we are, but it is like part of the game, and we have set the rules before coming to Earth, even if we no longer remember, because precisely forgetting is part of the rules of this game here on our planet. That forgetfulness and this world of illusion and duality that we live in is what makes us think that we are something we are not. That's why we are here. We come to remember and reconnect with our true essence. Many times we criticize and judge because the ego is very strong and all it wants is to be right. It happens to all of us because we give our intellect the power and control to do it. Sometimes we forget that there is no one out there and that everything and everyone is just our memories playing in our subconscious mind. Either way, we keep talking and arguing because we can't help it. I always say that if we didn't talk, we wouldn't have so many problems. As soon as you realize you are engaging, go back to cleansing with Ho'oponopono. Let go. Do the best you can. What you don't have to do is feel bad or guilty. Do not criticize yourself. That doesn't erase. If that happens, as soon as you can, go back to cleaning, letting go, and permitting God to transmute. I remember one of my students telling me that she had done things in the past that she regretted today, but her question was, what could she do apart from asking for forgiveness herself to calm the inner guilt she felt? Let me see. I remember one of my students telling me that she had done things in the past that she regretted today, but her question was, what could she do apart from asking for forgiveness? I believe it's supposed to say of herself to calm the inner guilt she felt. And my answer was, don't feel bad or guilty if you really want to get over it. Allow God to erase those memories. Maybe you have to become a little humbler and realize that you don't know as much as you think. That everything happens for a reason, at least for me. It took a very big weight off my shoulders. I no longer needed to know or understand or pretend to be perfect. I no longer needed to know or understand or pretend to be perfect. I just needed to be a little child again and let myself be guided. And what should you do with your expectations? Another very important change in my life was to realize that expectations were also my ego. That part that thinks it knows how things should be, how Ho'oponopono should work, and so on. And finally, realizing that if I was 100% responsible, it meant that I had created it. that it was within me and that I could change it myself. I felt free for the first time in my life, that it depended on me, that my peace wasn't contingent on someone or something changing outside of me. Maybe this goes against everything you have learned, but you must realize that you have to unlearn to learn again. And please know that the worst thing you can do when you have a problem is to think or worry about it. You think you're in control, but in reality, you regain control when you relax and let go and allow that part of you, God, that knows better to inspire you with the perfect solutions and right answers. You think you're in control, but in reality, you regain control when you relax and let go and let that part of you that knows better to inspire you with the perfect solutions and the right answers. We must be very alert to realize when we are buying our own stories. The reality is that you're like a broken record. Only you can stop it, and nobody else can do it for you. If you are sufficiently aware of it, you will not want to keep repeating those memories that do not work for you, and you will seek to attract what is right and perfect in an easy way. Don't get hooked. Stop resisting and let go. Ho'oponopono and relationships. If you don't forgive, you are still living in the past. If you keep living in the past, you will keep replaying it and you will not be able to change your future. That's like being stuck in a loop. Have you guys ever been stuck in a loop where you keep attracting the same jobs or relationships, but the players are different? So with Ho'oponopono, we get to break that cycle. How can I improve personal relationships? You have to remember that absolutely all the people who appear in your life do so to allow you to make amends. Amends for what? Memories or errors from other lifetimes. Yes, you have already been with them in other lives and now they appear in your life playing different roles. That's why I always tell you to observe and not engage, because the real problem has nothing to do with what's happening at the moment. It's all about replayed memories. So, while relationships will always bring challenges, now you can see them as opportunities to correct. And by not taking them personally, it can be easier to let them pass. You can choose not to react when you disagree with something or something bothers you. I want you to know that the ideal relationship is not one in which you will never have a yes or a no, or in which we will always agree. The ideal relationship is the one that will allow you to see what it is that is playing in your subconscious mind and that you need to work on. Of course, always remember that you can choose to be happy and at peace instead of imposing your point of view. Many times it is not so easy to let go, and on different occasions you will not be able to avoid it. You're gonna be a snitch. I love it when, in the case of couples or even parents and children, they come together, they come to the seminar together, and I have the opportunity to recommend that at least one of them stay sane, keeping their mouth shut and turning on the light in those moments in which the other person gets hooked and is somehow in the dark. You should also know that speaking from the intellect, memories, does not work, no matter what kind of relationship. It doesn't work because you keep repeating memories. It can only work if you allow God to erase first and speak from inspiration, which means that you always have to clean first and let God inspire you with the perfect and correct words, with those that others can hear. Do not plan or prepare yourself in advance for what you're going to say or what they are going to answer you. Let go and go blank. Stay present. You are there to observe and see what is going to be said. This way, you will be inspired by what is right and perfect to say at that moment, not what your intellect thinks is right. Change your mental conversations and the way you see situations, knowing that every encounter is an opportunity to erase old memories and that others are simply showing you what is playing in your subconscious mind. I have to read that again, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to highlight this section. Change your mental conversations and the way you see situations, knowing that every encounter is an opportunity to erase old memories, and that others are simply showing you what is playing in your subconscious mind. This isn't new information, but sometimes I have to cherish what she's saying, because it's like, boom, the light bulb goes on. I know this stuff rationally, but sometimes I have to hear it again, especially in my heart. You must also remember that you can change, and when you do, everything changes. You don't want to wait for anything to change out there. You don't want to resist. Choose to be happy and at peace rather than to be right. It is important to accept and respect others' points of view, others' way of seeing things. You should know that we do not all see or interpret everything in the same manner, because we all perceive differently through our memories. Thinking is resisting, and speaking is too. So, wait for the moment when inspiration comes. Maybe then you can say something in a way and at a time when others can hear it. They say that silence is golden. Well, try to keep your mouth closed and you will have fewer problems. Besides, we all make mistakes and we are all here learning. You are too. A friend once said to me, Mabel, do you know what I realized? That all the people who appear in our lives are angels. They appear to give us a chance to correct. And it is so because they are incarnated souls who committed themselves to appear in this lifetime under different roles. We need to learn to love as God loves us, unconditionally. If we are hurt, we take responsibility and clean, knowing that we may be paying off old debts. We want to stay present and stop creating more memories to clean later on. We want to let go of the past and not worry about the future. We know that all those with whom we disagree are our teachers. In any case, we can repeat mentally to ourselves, I don't know what I did to him, her in another lifetime, but I'm sorry. And don't be surprised that the relationship changes completely and that you end up having a much more harmonious bond. How can I improve my relationships with my children? The first thing you should know is that if you are well, your children will be well. They are not only our teachers, but they are also our mirrors. So let's always ask ourselves, what's in me that is attracting a conflict or this situation? What's in me that is attracting this conflict or this situation? Watch out, not from guilt. Nobody is guilty, but from responsibility. And as we saw earlier, responsibility frees and heals us. Remember that children choose their parents before they come to this world, and they are, although they may not seem like it, the perfect parents and children. So that match is perfect. The universe is perfect, and soul matching software, it's cute, it's perfect too. No one is a victim here. We all come to learn and grow as souls, and in some way, all the challenges that can arise between us will be experiences and opportunities which are going to help us correct mistakes from other lives and become stronger and better people. Another very common question I get asked is, how should I talk to my children? We must speak to our children with the truth and from the heart, show ourselves vulnerable, and tell them that we are also here learning and doing the best we can. Our intentions in general are good. However, because we are lost and do not know who we really are, we sometimes seek happiness and peace in the wrong places, asking ourselves the wrong questions. Okay, ask them for advice. If you have problems, include them to find the solutions, even if the problems are small or not important. You will be surprised How do active children have to face separation from their children? Oh my goodness. How to act if children have to face separation from their parents? You must remember that it is best never to speak badly about the other person, nor should you feel guilty. They already know. It is the children who chose us as parents before coming into this world. Everything is always right and perfect for everyone. Children should not be seen as victims. Do not worry, let go. You don't have to be the perfect parent. The main thing is to be happy mothers and fathers, together or apart. Just hug them and give them lots of love. That's all they need. If you are happy, they will be happy. Accept and love them just as they are. Children must not see themselves as victims because they are not. Sometimes we carry those crutches with us, which repeat because my parents separated when I was a kid, because I come from a dysfunctional family, because they abused me. We continue to blame others. Excuses. Let go of the past, moving forward, becoming better people, and thus helping others is just our decision. It's time to grow and take responsibility and permit ourselves to be happy. It's time to know that we deserve to be better and that we don't depend on anyone or anything outside of us to be happy. Do you realize that in a family all children are different? How could this be? Each of us have different memories. We come to heal and experience different things, and we all have free choices. It is better to let go and give permission to God. God, you guide me. You know what is right and perfect for them. I leave them in your hands. I let go and trust. I know that certain difficult situations can arise with our children, but again, if we do not know what is right for us, we will not know what is right for them. In those cases, there is no alternative but to ask for help. On several occasions, I had to ask for help. God, this is a lot for me. I need help. God, you're asking me for too much. I don't know if I can handle this one. When we do our part, let go, God can do His. Don't try to do it alone. There will always be things that will get out of hand, but you have to ask God to help you. They can be very difficult situations, such as problems with addictions, prison, children who may be at risk, and so on. It is in such cases when you know in your heart you can't handle it on your own, when you must ask God for guidance. God will protect and take care of them if you allow it. So, in addition to letting go and trusting, continue to work on yourself. Allowing God to rescue and care for our children, although it may seem like a comfortable and irresponsible position, is not at all. It is a way to take responsibility, become humble, and realize that we need help. If you really want the best for your kids, it's very important not to listen to other people's opinions and follow your own heart. Amen. And I wish growing up that the adults in my life were leading from inspiration and had the heart of God. I just felt like I have a lot of memories to clear, but I do appreciate the parents. And like Mabel said, um, we have been given the parents, we have been matched with the parents that are best for us. And, we ask for our parents, and so we have them. Again, remember that our obligation or work as parents is about being happy. At a conference, I was asked how I did it. Not to feel guilty about putting myself first before my children. What you have to keep in mind is that if you are okay, they will be okay. Show them that they have to do also what works for them. Besides, this is the best way to show your children that they do not have to be perfect and they can be happy too. They are your role model. Let's teach them to put themselves first, to do what they love, to be themselves, to follow what their heart dictates and not be guided by what others think of them. Woo! So we have inner children. I have an inner child. You have an inner child. So let's honor our inner children and, let's do what we love. Let us be ourselves. Let us follow what our heart dictates and let us not be guided by what others think of us. If we love and accept them as they are, they will grow more self-confident and will not be seeking approval from others. They will not be begging for love out there to feel worthwhile. We will be helping them to build strong self-esteem. One of the questions that I had from one of our conscious collaborators was, how did you build your self-esteem? And so here are some great tips. So we can love and accept ourselves, especially our inner children as they are. And as we do that, we won't be seeking approval from others, from the people who are outside of us. We won't have to beg for love out there, and we will just know by when we trust ourselves. The more we trust ourselves, the more our self-esteem grows. The more you keep silent, the less you educate, and the more you love them, the more they will fall in love with you. Do not sacrifice yourself for them. Do and give them love, expecting nothing in return. Do it without expectations. When I'm old, they will care for me, they will call me, they will deal with me, they will support me because I sacrifice myself for them. When you sacrifice for them and then you claim and complain, you will likely not get anything of what you expected. On the contrary, you will generate guilt and resentment. Also, when you raise happy children, they will find their own way and it will be much easier for you. Now, if for some reason at some point there is upset and distance between parents and children, there is no need to worry. Remember, this is normal. You are together because you have common memories. There will always be memories of other lifetimes playing, ready to be erased. The best thing is to practice Ho'oponopono cleaning, work on yourself, and do not engage with what may be affecting you, which you do not even know what it is because, as I said, it may be memories replaying from another lifetime. When we do, what is erased in us is erased in them. This is the best way to heal and avoid conflict. When we do that, we do it without expectations, and the day you least expect it, the phone or the doorbell will ring without needing to talk, explain, justify, or anything like that. Total unconditional love. We leave it in God's hands. We take good care of ourselves, and we observe how things pass, change, and settle. When memories are replaying, who is going to erase them? Or are we going to leave them for our grandchildren and the next generations? You have to try to observe without engaging, not trying to change anyone. Try to avoid arguing, being right, or convincing others of your point of view. None of that. The happiness or harmony that we are all looking for is not there. On the other hand, we must remember that attachments and expectations are not good for anyone. Try to fill your heart and soul with spiritual things. That peace you are looking for is inside yourself. You have to try to keep your mind occupied. Let go of thoughts, not buy your own stories or get hooked on melodrama. You should say, "Thank you, but I'm busy." Choose to be happy. Detachment produces great inner peace for us. I know that as parents, we want to help them, we want them happy, we want them well. Of course, we will only do a good job by taking care of ourselves, being happy people ourselves, and showing them by example that there is another way and that they can choose differently. And In the end, it always depends on the choices they make. Observe without reacting and do not try to change them, nor tell them what is right or wrong, what they should think, or how they should feel. You can't invade their privacy. You have to become a little more respectful and know that they have their own soul that came to live their own experience. As I said before, which is very important, love them and accept them just as they are. As a young girl, I would have loved to know that I was okay the way I was and that I should always follow my heart. What mattered was that I thought of myself, not what others thought of me. It is also so important that you understand the responsibility that comes with free choice, that everything depends on your decisions and that decisions have consequences. Nothing depends on others on the outside. Everything is within us. Maybe next time you'll think twice when choosing, and by doing so, it will change your life for the better. I'm not telling you not to discipline your children. Of course, we all need limits. The important thing is that they know they are responsible for their own decisions. Let us always give them options. Let them know the consequences of their decisions and let them choose consciously. That way, they don't have to be the bad one. Remember, instead of arguing, you can mentally repeat, I love you, thank you for being in my life. And it's better to do it when they're sleeping. That way, you're talking to their subconscious mind, which never sleeps. Whenever they live in your home, whether they live in your home or not, don't engage. Choose your battles. Some aren't worth it. Don't contradict them. Clean. Remember that talking and arguing doesn't work. Don't try to give them advice. Don't tell them what's right or wrong. Remember that you don't even know what that is, and it didn't work for you either. That it's all about memories replaying. We don't know what we did to them in another lifetime. Sorry for whatever I did to you. Thank you for showing up in my life and giving me another opportunity to correct. How can I improve my relationship with my partner? Of course, much of what I already shared about personal, professional, and parent-child relationships apply here as well. So I've already said it's key to focus on being able to really take responsibility and let go instead of wanting to be right no matter what kind of relationship we are talking about. Where should we start to improve relationships with our partners? Let's start by accepting and respecting ourselves because they say that others treat us the way we treat ourselves. So only when we love and respect ourselves, others will be able to love and respect us. Remember that acceptance and respect are very important in any relationship. And you know what? No matter how many times I repeat things to you and how many times you will read them, every time it will respond to a different need, or you will be ready to receive it differently. We learn everything by repetition, even our names. And no matter how many times we read or listen to it, we all need to keep rereading and re-listening to be able to change our bad habits. The only way of unlearning is to relearn again, and this takes practice, practice, practice. And we all need to stay alert because life is always trying to get us away from our path. We have to be strong and consistent because the memories in our subconscious mind are very powerful and very toxic. Okay, so I'm going to confess, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, that I was like, why is she repeating? I felt like she was repeating herself over and over on some of the things. And so I was just like, what in the world? But I'm glad she brought that up because I forgot. We do learn by repetition. And yeah, so in a sense, I'm glad that she's repeating it. And this is one of those books that you can reread over and over again. And it doesn't have to be read in one setting. It's just that I wanted to read this book in one setting. But because I have the Kindle version, I think if I reread this book again, It would be best to read one page at a time because that way it soaks into my consciousness. What do you guys think? One thing in particular concerning relationships for couples is not to look for them because we feel lonely. In any relationship, when we come from I need them, it creates codependent relationships. Mental or emotional attachments due to a financial dependency or status in society, what others think of you, etc., are never going to work for us. Let's not even think that we're going to be happy when we have a partner. Keep in mind that you can be in a relationship and still feel lonely and empty just the same. Between you and me, the best relationship is the one we could have with God, the one inside us. You're never going to find what you're looking for outside of yourself. If you believe that, you are fooling yourself. When it comes to a needy relationship, it is not possible to be completely happy. Even if people stay together, let's work on ourselves first, on feeling good, on needing nobody but God, and knowing that we are not alone. Moment by moment, be okay alone physically and thus be able to be at peace being by yourself. Then look for a partner, but from wanting, knowing that you do not need it. Wanting, but from wanting. The word want means, but from wanting. The word want means desire, from desiring versus need. Interesting. The famous expression of looking for our better half as if we are incomplete and we need the other person to be worth it is an idea, a belief poorly learned from our society that we keep repeating and makes us very unhappy, but ends up being programming. And today, more than ever, we realize that we are programmed from many sayings or ideas like that one. Never accept being in a relationship where you can't be yourself, where you're not accepted as you are, or in a relationship in which you think you're going to change the other person and where you have certain expectations of them. When you are in a relationship, whether personal, intimate, or professional, no matter what the relationship is, the important thing is to know that you were already together in another lifetime. So take 100% of the responsibility and stop blaming, complaining, and thinking that the problem is the other person. Also, don't wait for the other person to change so that you are happy and at peace. When you change, the other person will change. No one outside of yourself can make you happy. In relationships, the most important thing is to forgive, let go of the past, and stop hurting ourselves. Remember, it's just memories replaying, and that they show up because we are ready to erase, free ourselves, and grow. Memories are very toxic when they play. And when they play, and sometimes we cannot help it. We are all doing the best we can. Better to choose to be right. Excuse me. Yikes. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you on that one. Better to choose to be happy than right. The point is to live in the present moment. That also gives us a lot of peace in a relationship. Not making so many plans and not thinking so much about the future. Even from a Ho'oponopono point of view, if there is a separation, there's no need to be suffering. Then observe, let go, ask God to transmute. Remember that the ideal partner will not be one with whom there are no differences or conflicts. Partners will always show us what we have to work on ourselves. There is always some reason why we are together. God always gives us opportunities. Just remember to be more of an observer, as if you were watching a movie, and see that those beings that appear in your life are also doing the best they can, and that they are just moved by memories too. The characters in a movie. Nobody does things on purpose, but we can't help it. Those memories are stronger than us, and in Ho'oponopono we recognize the importance of letting them go instead of resisting them. What about infidelity and abuse? As I mentioned before, I do not say that we must stay in the relationship and accept betrayal or abuse, but understand that they are also memories and that we must assume our responsibility. Understand that they are memories replaying and the other could not avoid it. So it's like because we have the memories, the person is compelled to act. So, for instance, have you ever had a friend, they act a certain way with certain people and a certain way with other people? It's the memories. So, like, if you've been cheated on and maybe the person, your mate, never cheated before with anyone else, then it's the memories that are in you. Not to blame you, but you have to take 100% responsibility. Let's see. She says, maybe you were the abuser in a prior life. Not everything or everyone is there seeing the way to hurt you. Everyone is living their own movie and weaving their own story. Every time you feel that tests and challenges are coming your way, remember that you yourself have planned it before you came. You wanted to live that experience. You wanted to make amends, and the others are playing the role you asked them to play for you. They are giving you another chance. We are all here correcting, learning, and growing. We need not worry or take things too seriously. God knows what is right and perfect for everyone, and we are here to finally graduate. I don't think you want to have to repeat it, right? The issue here is, are you going to see yourself as a victim? Are you going to get hooked on your story and the story of others? Are you going to try to understand when there is nothing that can be understood? Are you going to ask questions that have no answers? Or instead, you are going to let go? Because Ho'oponopono is, I'm sorry, please forgive me for whatever is in me that has created this. Only when you take responsibility, you start the path of transformation. It's not about being attached and enjoying every moment, seeing it as an opportunity and knowing there is a blessing behind each challenge, that everything and everybody in your life is a teacher. I want to make sure I read that correctly. It's not about being attached and enjoying every moment, seeing it as an opportunity, knowing there is a blessing behind each challenge. I'm kind of baffled by that sentence, but I'm going to go on and thank you, that everything and everybody in your life is a teacher, a mirror that shows you what is your life. Life is a journey, it is a school, and we are all here learning. So each one of us has their own lessons and experiences from which to learn, and you can't impose on anyone what you think they should be doing. You have to respect other people's decisions too. Now, when we clean with Ho'oponopono, we are helping others. Why? Because we are letting go and permitting God to erase. What is erased in us is also erased in them. Don't be surprised if the other person changes or does or says things you would never have expected coming from them. Allow them to change. Don't put people in boxes. They will never change, quote unquote. Always the same, quote unquote. I told you so, quote unquote. Do not decree it, otherwise they cannot change because you decided they were not capable of change. That is how powerful you are. The law of attraction works on everything, every thought. So I love how she says, don't decree it. The question is, how do I let go? When things happen, what you need to do is relax, let go, and surrender. And of course, don't forget to breathe. So at that moment, you must remember to let go and trust. God will always be there to guide and care for you. Let go of expectations. You don't know what is right and perfect. When we have expectations and when we are attached to a certain person, situation, or outcome, we end up being the worst obstacle in our own life, and the only possibility that change happens out there is for us to change. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this because I want to reread that other sentence I got stuck on. It's about not being attached and enjoying every moment. So I think it's supposed to be it's about not being attached, period, and enjoying every moment, seeing it as an opportunity and knowing there is a blessing behind each challenge. I think that's kind of how it should go. So I'm going to highlight this too, because here she says, let go of expectations. You don't know what is right and perfect. When we have expectations and we are attached to a certain person, situation, or outcome, we end up being the worst obstacle in our own life. And the only possibility that change happens out there is for us to change. So, we can't change what's on the outside. We have to change. It is important to know that there are definitely no coincidences or accidents. We have memories in common, and we always appear in the lives of others, and they appear in our lives to give us that opportunity to correct. The people we are with the most and the ones we live with are the ones with whom we have the most memories in common. Woo! I'm going to highlight that because I never considered that. Did you guys know that? The people we are with the most and the ones we live with are the ones with whom we have the most memories in common. The more stuff to clean. That makes sense. Also, every day, every moment, we have opportunities to let go and trust. Our faith is at stake our faith is at stake all the time. The universe knows what is right for us, for you, and that is what we have to rely on. Simply live moment by moment in the present, seeing everything as opportunities and not forgetting to thank what we have in front of us. We can always be grateful for our adversities. Now, now we know they are blessings even if they don't look like it. And it just dawned on me that Maluhia would be a good book to read because there are different vignettes and it's written quote unquote for a child, but it could also be written for our inner childs too. And I loved reading that book. And don't get me wrong, I love this book too, but I love the vignettes in Malohia, and please forgive me if I mispronounce that. But the vignettes are so magical and it's like having an adventure. So I might put that on the list to be read. Okay, the universe knows what is right for us, for you, and that is what we have to rely on. Simply live moment by moment in the present, seeing everything as opportunities and not forgetting to thank what we have in front of us. We can always be grateful for our adversities. Now we know they are blessings, even if they don't look like it. Don't resist your opinions and judgments. The key is to simply observe your ego and its reactions. Do not make it wrong, and please do not forget that your emotional part is not you either. It is your subconscious mind, your inner child. So, at those moments, you can also reinforce this part of you by telling it, everything is going to be fine, we are together, and there is nothing we need to worry about. You don't have to feel bad about your reactions. It happens to all of us. Do not identify with your anger and resentment. Observe and let go, and you will notice those episodes in your life will be shorter and shorter. The episodes of love, recognition, and acceptance more lasting. Every time we want to be more aware and let go. Every time we want to be more aware and let go faster. No relationship is easy because most of them are karmic, but anything is possible. Ho'oponopono can help you transform them. How can I avoid what's toxic in my life and not let myself be defeated by what others will say? Listening to the heart reminds you that you're not alone. It's as if God speaks to you. That's where inspiration comes to you from. You feel light, powerful, and strong. You realize that anything is possible. It is as if at that moment those toxic and dense memories are melted. George from Uruguay had a difficult relationship with a toxic person in his life. He felt that no matter how much he did on his part, everything always ended very badly. Why was this? Well, we have to know that some negative and toxic people are not worth discussing. We just need to keep our mouths shut and clean. Negativity is the one who will most likely win since toxicity is heavier and denser and could sometimes drag us down. Therefore, we must have the goodwill to say, no, I do not go there, I do not buy it, and never let ourselves be dominated, imposed on, or allowed to be taken control over us. It is key to choose our peace and happiness above all things. We must concentrate on doing precisely what we love, what works for us, instead of what works for others, because doing things for others, putting them first, and sacrificing for them does not work. It doesn't work for us. It will not work for them either. How do I know when the heart is speaking to me? Ask yourself, how does this feel? Does this work for me? Does this make me happy? Choosing more based on what feels good to you instead of what is quote unquote right. What makes you feel at peace, not what others think is right. Trusting your gut feelings. Yes. So next time you have to make a decision, ask your heart, not your mind. Always looking within and connecting with that part of you that knows what is perfect and right for you. If it works for you, it will work for everybody. Always do what works for you and never try to change others, because otherwise you will accumulate more memories and more blocks in your path. When we are sure of ourselves, we do not need to convince others. We can even accept and respect the decisions of others. If we are closed-minded, trying to be right and convince others that what we think is right, we will not be able to communicate well, and the results will be the opposite of what we want to obtain. Allow the mind to do its thing, just observe it, but follow your heart. What feels right? Do not confront or try to impose your point of view. This way, your heart and mind will be aligned. Let go and choose to be happy. Do not get hooked on your beliefs, opinions, and judgments. Remain observant, putting distance and knowing that you are not those reactions. Only then you will be at peace without having to argue or fight battles with others, and you can bring more light to all situations and circumstances in your life. Only then, I'm going to read that one more time because I lost consciousness for a moment. When I say consciousness, my mind wandered. Only then you will be at peace without having to argue or fight battles with others, and you can bring more light to all circumstances and situations in your life. I'm just breathing through this moment, taking deep breaths. For the most part, I've been very conscious and not distracted when reading this book. But maybe because this is one of the longer recordings that I've had, my mind just kind of was distracted. But I'm okay. I'm not judging, and I thank you, mind, for reeling me back in. Only then you will be at peace without having to argue or fight battles with others, and you can bring more light to all the situations and circumstances in your life. I'm going to highlight that. I started to do a Course in Miracles, but then I actually did get distracted when reading it, and I just didn't. I had to record it about 2 or 3 times, but then I still needed to re-record it, so I kind of walked away from that. I was like, what else can I do? Because it's not working. Sometimes the energy isn't flowing, so I felt inspired to read this. This way, you would also be working on things that you did not know were coming, that could have brought much more pain and could have been much more difficult than what you are facing right now. But by letting go of trying to understand expectations and the need to be right, by just repeating mentally, thank you or I love you, we trust God because He knows best. That's when incredible things happen, unbelievable solutions, those that some people call miracles. And I had a big miracle this week. Whew, yes, indeed. And I am so thankful. I'm not going to share it now because it's kind of personal, but miracles are happening. Miracles abound. On the other hand, I want to tell you that with Ho'oponopono, when we talk about forgiving others, we don't need to talk to the other person. That's a finger snap. I'm snapping my fingers on that one. What you have to do is forgive in your heart, work on your reaction and those memories that led you to relive and engage the past in your mind. It is important to decide not to hurt ourselves anymore. Why do we hurt ourselves when we do not forgive? Because we are the ones who take the poison, not the person who does not deserve our forgiveness. And I was just having a conversation earlier today with someone. I forgive people and I forgive someone that we have in common, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm just going to let this person into my inner circle. That won't be happening most likely, not in this lifetime. But in my heart, I did forgive, and I even prayed over the person, I blessing them. And yeah, so for me, I feel at peace, but the other person is like, oh, you need to talk to the person. Not in this lifetime. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see what inspiration does or says. Remember that when we talk about healing and correcting memories of the past, most of them from past lives, it is not something momentary. People will always appear in our lives to give us opportunities to correct, but in our hearts we must know that we have already been together and the problems are never those which are occurring in the present, but they are replaying memories. We all have to continue cleaning until our last breath, but it will be easier as long as we don't blame and complain and don't try to understand or justify ourselves. Memories cannot be understood, therefore we must be prepared to take responsibility and let go. Remember, what is erased in us is erased in others. When we change, others change. What is the importance of the inner child and how do I ask this part of myself to help? The inner child is our subconscious mind. It is the one that manages all the functions of our body. Imagine everything that happens in it moment by moment while we are not conscious. When we do not have to even think about breathing or how to make our heart beat. Yes, we are on autopilot, breathing, heartbeat, blood circulation, and so on. Well, your subconscious mind can also do cleaning automatically 24 hours a day, and that is what we really need because many times we will not be able to avoid engaging and reacting. This subconscious mind, our inner child, watches us, does not listen to us, just like our biological children do or don't. It is not a matter of talking to them or giving them instructions. The idea is to show them by example. That means we have to do it. We have to start it and commit ourselves. We have to try to do the best we can to clean as much time as possible so that we can act from inspiration, so that we can attract what is right and perfect for us. This child is going to watch us, and it should be clear that in our house, when we have a problem, we clean, let go, and hand our problems over to God. We must practice Ho'oponopono all the time. And if we commit and practice only one thing, our inner child will be clear and will start doing it for us. Yes, we do have superhero, our inner child, who is the subconscious mind, and who can do it for us automatically. To do this, we must avoid To do this, we must avoid confusing that child within us because he needs to be clear about what we do when a problem or challenge arises. This is the part of us that can do it automatically 24 hours a day. Talking to the inner child is very personal. It can be very different and unique for each one of us. It is like talking to a small child. It is having the certainty that it does exist. For example, in my beginnings, I realized that when I was afraid, I would say to my inner child, "We are together, everything will be fine, we give it to God." Immediately afterwards, I noticed that I felt more at peace. Do you have to see it or actually hear it? No. It's just a connection knowing in your heart that it exists and is watching you. Another way to talk to it is by saying, "We're together. I'm not going to abandon you." If you're going through something difficult that hurts or worries you, tell it, "Please let go." Remember that this child is also your emotional part. Other times I would talk to mine and tell it, "This one is too much for us. We give it to God. With this one, we don't even try." Our inner child knows God. The intellect, which is the one that has to choose to let go or not, which is the part of us that initiates the process of Ho'oponopono, does it blindly. It must trust blindly. However, for our inner child, letting go means peace. It is working directly with God. Does my inner child look like me when I was young? The inner child, our subconscious mind, which we refer to it here in Ho'oponopono, does not necessarily resemble us. If you can see it, it can appear as yourself, as a child, but it can also appear in different shapes or forms, including a flower or an animal. Remember that it is the subconscious mind, a part that was with you in past lives. It is not in this plane, but it does identify with it because, as I said before, it manages our body and is our emotional part. Also, let me tell you that it can change, so don't be surprised. It can have a different sex, age, etc. It kind of reminds me of angels. And, what if our subconscious mind was on a different dimension? Like, how they say angels are on the fourth or fifth dimension. What if our subconscious minds are on a different dimension and that's why it can change? Like, our body is physical and it can't really change that much overnight. But what about the subconscious mind? It could change in a blink of an eye, probably. Talking to the inner child is very personal. It is an individual action, different and unique for each person. There is no particular formula, but just knowing it exists, acknowledging it, and talking with it can make a big difference in your results. As I said, to communicate with it, it has to be done your unique way, whatever will work for you naturally. For some people, it may be getting up in the morning saying hello, telling them what you're going to do today, and asking or saying, "Could you help me with cleaning when I forget to clean?" And I'm going to just take a moment to say that now. Can you help me with cleaning when I forget to clean, subconscious mind, inner child? Again, this is very personal. You just need to know that it does exist and that it is the best partner you can have in life. And it is important that if you ask it to please let go, you always do it from love. You can make it your best friend with whom you can talk to anywhere, at the market, while you're showering, walking, or doing housework. It is not something for which one has to sit and meditate. It can be done at the same time that we are busy or doing other tasks. So again, there is no need to do any ritual or ceremony to connect with your inner child. And remember, never compare yourself. You are unique. It is also valid to sit back, relax, and make the connection. You can hug it mentally, thank it, and involve it more in your life. Remember that it's watching you all the time, so trust that it's there with you. You can reconnect with your inner child at any time and say, I love you, thank you for being in my life, as you would say to a small child. Nothing more than that. Don't try to convince it that it has to be happy or clean because remember, we always want to come from love and don't give orders. It is our data bank, which is where all the accumulated memories are. Let's choose not to give power to memories. We must constantly remember that it is very easy to engage with anger, depression, mistrust, expectations, apathy, and sadness. You have to be able to change your narrative. When those thoughts show up, you can always respond, I don't have time for that. I have a lot of important things to do. I will not give the power or control to this. It's a moment-to-moment choice because memories are always playing. The inner child is also our intuition since it is all repetition of memories. Sometimes your child can give you some warnings of something that has already happened and can happen again. It is also our inner child who can help us connect more with God. We must remember that every time we say thank you, we connect with the inner child because even though the conscious mind starts the cleaning, it has to do the connection with the source through the subconscious mind, inner child. We don't have to give it instructions, just say thank you and it happens. It's like pressing the delete key on your computer. Do we need to know which are the cables that connect and how the computer actually does the deleting? Not really. The computer already knows how to do it. You just press the key. Finally, the subconscious never sleeps, so it can clean while we sleep. Many of our dreams are memories from other lifetimes and therefore important memories to clean also. Wow, I remember reading that in Zero Frequency, but for some reason that just came alive. That sentence came alive for me. Also, not only do we have memories, but we also, I believe, have parallel lives when we dream. We're tapping into parallel lives, and I had a interesting dream. I was going to say weird, but it was more interesting. And so I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. I'm doing Ho'oponopono over that dream, which I believe to be a parallel life. I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. When people come to the seminars, I always tell them not to worry if they fall asleep because the seminar is actually more for the subconscious mind than for their intellect. Once, Dr. Hew Len took his oldest daughter to a Ho'oponopono seminar with Morna Simona, his teacher, and his daughter slept during the entire seminar to the point that she snored and Dr. Hew Len had to put his hand on her mouth because of the noise. The next day they went to the pool together and her daughter said, Dad, wait, do you remember what the old lady said? I believe it meant his daughter, and his daughter said, Dad, wait, do you remember what the old lady said? First you have to clean before you go in. He couldn't believe it because she had slept during the entire seminar. And that happens. We are getting the information, regardless of whether we're asleep or not, we still get the information. We get it, we get it, we get it. Okay, the next chapter is Ho'oponopono and health, which I'm particularly looking forward to. I'm going to take a break. I feel like I need to take a bio break, hydrate, so on and so forth. So I will start recording when I'm back. Bye. Okay, so I took my break, got a few things. I'm not going to finish the whole book because I do want to honor Miss Mabel Katz, but I will say this, the fifth chapter is Ho'oponopono and health, and she says illnesses are also memories playing in our subconscious mind. You may choose to be at peace even if you're sick. There is always a blessing behind every challenge. And like I told you, with my being sick, I learned to put myself first because a lot of times I always gave and sacrificed myself for other people. And so the universe requires balance, usually in all things. And so even more so with myself and ourselves. And then chapter 6 is prosperity and money. And it says, if instead of complaining and concentrating on what we think we lack, we thank the universe for what we have, we will always have what we need when needed. And so I'm going to link, Miss Mabel Katz just did a video on money. I'm on her newsletter, so if you want the latest and greatest information, join her newsletter. I will see if I can link it, but you might have to sign up for it yourself. And if that's the case, I will send you her webpage. And she also has a YouTube channel. Okay, so that is it for this recording. This is the longest recording I've ever done. Oh my goodness, it's 2 hours and 30 minutes, a little bit over. Tell me what you think. Did you enjoy the book? And speaking of enjoying the book, oh, I'm so torn because normally I give Miss Cott's 5 out of 5 stars. I'm torn because I kind of want to give it 4 out of 5 stars. And of course, this is just my opinion. Make up your own mind. But I kind of want to do that because it felt like there was a lot of fillers. And I know I have to take 100% responsibility. That other book, Blue Ice, that was a little bit of a letdown because it was mostly filler too. And so I understand about the repetition, but then it's like, there's also the filler. In this case, it works for this book because, like I said, I think the best way to really get the gold from this book is to read it on a daily basis, like read a page a day. But that's just my interesting point of view. How would you like to read it if you had the physical copy or the digital copy of it? Okay, well, I hope you're having a wonderful day or evening wherever you're at in the world. Talk to you later. Bye.